that going the attack's
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, it used to be a main thing for Consulate as well, but when they went for the rework harder, they took away a lot of the window play on this map. They took away a lot of the long angles that you could dedicate yourself to and practically just sit there and wait. I mean, if you had a solid clear coming through on the other portion of the building, 9 times out of 10, Carter, you're killing somebody just by sitting still on a window and waiting to see if they rotate to a stairwell or something of the sort. But that's not the case any longer on Consulate. It is a map that forces you to clear, and not only clear, but clear inside the building. There's not nearly as many windows that you can try and occupy and get away with some of the things that we used to see. And this could be a huge issue for both of these squads, respectively. And it really just comes down to who is more proficient when it comes to these clears, and let alone that fact, but just coming down to the execute in a successful way, because a lot of the times we saw these squads, when they were able to get these big clears off, fall on the floor flat on their face when it came to the execute instead. So there's a lot of different, spanners in the works for both of these teams on that offensive side, and Carter and I are here to be the detectives to try and carry y'all through this.
Is that we were in the first 4 rounds of the game? Were we detectives?
Yeah, but which one of us is Sherlock Holmes? I feel like you fit the description way more.
I don't know why. I felt like that was still somehow an insult. I feel like you just called me the smarter one, but yet I feel like there was something in there that was like a joke at my expense, and I can't tell what it was, and that makes me uncomfortable. I don't trust you. I don't trust you.
Maybe I finally got one over on you, Lynx. I'm gonna let you sit and stew on that one for a while. I mean,
fair enough. But I mean, seriously, like, we might be that, you call us detectives, we can figure things out all we want. I mean, to me, that was a pretty clear-cut game. We need to see improvements on the attacking side from both of these teams, but specifically in this case, MIBR, if they want to push it to a third map. And I do believe, just to be 100% clear, do believe they are starting out on the attack, given the nature of Consulate. You want to pick the defenses to start, typically, if it's your opponent's pick. And what do you know? It's, No, Fluxo defending first. Sorry, I want to say Fluxo defending, and I was like, wait a second, what? But no, Fluxo are defending first, which is exactly what we thought. So MIBR starting on the attack. This is where we need to see that improvement. And I guess if you want anybody to be doing well, it's Machina, who had 15 and 8 last time, is the key entry for MIBR. And if he's able to not only maintain that performance, but be set up well enough by his team, could be the saving grace for MIBR on their attacking side.
Yeah, truthfully so. And that's really what we're going to be leaning into. I mean, both of these teams, Lynx, have to find some just better fuel for their offensive side, because it's not good, man. We're dealing with 87 octane right now. And we're looking for some race fuel for this next game. So hopefully things can work out. Hopefully these guys are feeling a little bit more like some solid drivers when it comes to Consulate, because we need somebody to drive these rounds home, man. We really, really do. So that's what I'm going to be looking for when it comes to Consulate. How are these teams going to find positivity when it comes to their offensive side? Because we really need to see, at a bare minimum, 2 successful offenses out of MIBR to set themselves up for success here on their map choice.
And they need to set themselves up for success. Not only set themselves up, but also knock it out of the park. It's do or die right now. Fluxo had one win in stage 2. Well, I guess technically 1 map win, and then now 2 map wins in stage 2. You should not be losing to this team. You were right behind NIP, right behind Furia to get into playoffs. And sure, you just fell short, but this is a team that you should be beating. You were competitors with people beyond them. Now that we're on your map pick, this is where you need to mount the comeback. As the ban phase begins, Capital ban coming out. Not really an operator we see banned all that much anymore. Just not even really banned all that much to begin with, just because think of how many priorities we have nowadays, Sam. Monty, Blitz, Dokkaebi, Deimos, if you're going against a team that's particularly good with that operator, and then even like Ying and Grim. Not even the first of the execute operators that gets banned. Very interesting. Fluxo decided to take him off the board.
Yeah, I mean, while we're on the subject, I'll definitely tell you this. Siege is in dire need of more bans. We are now, I think the offensive side has like 37 operators or something crazy like that. There's just so many people on both sides of the coin 2 bans and you know, 1 ban per side per team, it just does not cut it anymore. But I digress. Let's get down to the actual truth and what we're going to be seeing inside of this map. And really what we're going to be seeing is MIBR trying to create some space for a plant in a lot of different instances. You can think about that on the top floor. That's why we see a lot of you know, utility that displaces defenders utilized when it comes to trying to get that execute off via the CEO window. That's why we see the Capitao ban here, Carter, because they don't want, you know, MIBR to be able to take Capitao and flame them off of any of those different areas where they can try and reinsert themselves into that portion of the map and maybe get a nitro cell off, or maybe just a nice swing to stop a plant. So they'll have to try and go for other things like the Grim to be able to replace that. Now, we do have an interesting fold coming in already. This is a basement setup here for Fluxo, and Carter, that's locked in. Machina is on Amaru.
I don't get what's interesting about that. It seems pretty normal to me. It seems fine.
I mean, normal for Consulate, but for the basement bomb site?
Put the hook.
I don't.
Aim the hook down. You're on the second floor. Activate the hook. Fly at Mach 5 downward into the ground on the basement. Makes sense to me. No, it is a bit peculiar though. Usually when we see like an Amaru picked on an off-site like that, it usually indicate, it kind of has to indicate, in my opinion, that you're going for a full clear and you just want to drone out the top floor and then immediately acquire the control, just so you get it figured out. And also, if you're able to do that, you've got the shotgun and the SMG-11, which could serve you well on basement if you're pushing down Spiral or Server on the backside. So that's why I imagine the Amaru is there. Maybe they thought it was CEO and they messed up. That's obviously a possibility, but I believe, to call back to the detective analogy, I believe I have cracked this case as to why the Amaru is here on basement.
You have to slow down time to do that?
Yeah, I actually, so I paused the stream, I paused time, and I was looking at it for the equivalent of about 85 years to figure that one out.
You were elevating in your room right there,
yeah,
just hovering above the entire desk.
You know how like Dr. Manhattan can go like backwards, forwards in time, or go anywhere? I was doing that. I was trying to figure out what the Amaru did in the round, and then I came back and explained it.
That monologue had to be crazy to reach this point where Machina is now inside of Tellers, and this Scar Hook is really not really accomplished too much. Now, I will give you this. The shotgun going to be very useful around these stairwells, and this is the map that we see this happen quite often, where we'll see some players occupy yellow, occupy, you know, spiral, anything of the sort. Just a close range engagement that you can practically just win out immediately with a proper shotgun in the in that, you know, area. So let's see if that works out for MIBR. But you know what's not working out for Carter? This timing.
No, not at all, unfortunately. I mean, Machina has been here for, well, about as long as I spent in real time trying to figure out this play. So it's not made a lot of progress. We got the verticality. No defenders are exposing themselves to these angles. MIBR stuck in a 5v5, and they haven't caused Fluxo to use any of their utilities. All C4s. Almost all the Zotos, almost all the toxic canisters, and Hashi still has goo mines cooking up in his back pocket. They could throw at yellow, at spiral, at the backside to figure out if anybody's pushing in late. Not a single MIBR attacker has set foot on that bottom floor, and Mitrix is actually trying to push things even further. SMG will go out, but, well, unfortunately, vending machines bulletproof, as Machina will not find the next one. Switch to the shotgun. There goes Mitrix. But it's still a 3v3, 3v2. Now that Astro's found in the downed position, but Raps with a nice two-piece will shut things down with Lukit. Round one goes the way of Fluxo, and that round, a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, listen, I promise you folks, I'm not trying to be mean. That was just a outright terrible round from MIBR. That's not what you want for a downstairs setup. They take immediate aggression upstairs, and you bring the Amaru because you want things to happen fast, but we still somehow, some way end in a 30-second execute where we're just dropping down the server hatch and hoping, praying that Fluxo doesn't understand what's going on. I mean, the jig's practically up, man. There's 30 seconds remaining. They know you have to execute at some moment in time, and let alone that fact, you're not even capable of getting those big picks when you do catch them off guard. I mean, imagine the world where we see that Amaru actually hit that shot with the SMG-11 at range over towards the vending machine. That probably opens up a lot for MIBR, as Fluxo are going to be sent into a flurry to try and regain and recapture some map control downstairs, but instead they just get to wait idly by and force MIBR to clear all of that. And let alone that fact, Fluxo does a bang-up job of dealing with the aggression in from yellow, and that's basically all she wrote, Carter. Everybody else is so far away from the play, so far away from finding some success in the bomb site that there's no real way for them to get back into the round in a successful manner, and that's all due to the clock. So for MIBR, you're really hoping that things go a little bit faster, especially when you chose the goddamn map. I would really hope that you're confident in your offenses.
Whoa. We're pulling out the GD word. We're 1 round in, all right?
I'm a little frustrated after what we've been seeing.
No. Deep breath.
I'm old. I'm senile now, okay?
Deep breath in. Hold. Deep breath out.
I'm rubbing my pressure points, okay?
Right. 1 round in. It's just basement. Attacking on console can be difficult. I agree. A lot of problems in that round. But there's still room for improvement and still time to make good on any promises that MIBR could make. We've won basement. Figure that out. So where will Fluxo go next? I believe actually just up to the 1st floor, if my eyes don't deceive me. You and I have had this problem before where it's like every bomb site is on top of each other on every single floor. Yep, 1st floor, and off the back of the flashbangs, Machina will take immediate control of the yellow stairs. Switch to the skeleton key in case anybody is close, but nobody is actually on this side of the map. All of Fluxo are pulled a little far back. Machina, unfortunately, swinging into the flashbang. Will stall progress momentarily, but MIBR have acquired every bit of vertical control very early on, and a lot of these Bs got used. A lot of it
for free.
I was about to say a lot of utility expended, and you honestly didn't even need to.
Is that Lucid upstairs near front desk? Yeah, it is Lucid. Okay. I'm so confused as to why Fluxo feels comfortable giving MIBR all of this control over towards CEO. This is so important when it comes to the piano defense, and they have so many bodies in this space as well, and Fluxo's just going to give it up. They're going to try and keep it at a 5 versus 5 and let MIBR work all of these angles. Carter, I really don't like this.
Yeah, it feels very risky. I mean, even if maybe Lucid was, say, ratting an admin and then going for a retake later on, that'd be one thing, but he's immediately spotted on the drone with still half the round to go, so the cap can is forced down. Gomez now actually moving over to the admin side to make sure nobody's retaking. There is somebody close on the Visa stairs right now. I think he's even fallen back to Visa. But even with this minimal top floor control, we might have criticized Fluxo for that gambit, but have MIBR made a whole lot of progress off of it? 30 seconds remaining pretty much. And they've still got to push down onto the site. We're in the exact same position we were in the previous round, pushing to the bomb site floor in a 5v5. Mitrix tagged to decently low HP, but with the shotgun around the corner, he could be 1 out of 125 and he'd still win that. The high-low setup will bear some fruit for Fluxo. Caught with a C4 in hand, Raps is the only member of Fluxo to fall, as MIBR struggling to even start the engine on their consulate attacks.
I'm just going to give the same analysis that I gave from the last round.
All right, here, hold on. Let's work on our anger management, all right? Let's take a
deep breath. Okay. So, guys, ladies and gentlemen, all right? When it comes to consulate, you really, really are hoping that your clears go extremely well when it comes to verticality and it comes to the different layers of the map, right? If they're occupying the basement, your 2nd and 3rd floors need to go really well. If they're occupying the mid floor, that top floor clear needs to not only be potent, but it needs to be in good timing.
Preach.
Now, the key thing is here for me and for everybody at home with a brain, MIBR got the keys to the castle. I mean, just gifted to them. Fluxo did not set a single thing up upstairs. They didn't even set up any of their own verticality links. They just had Lucid sit over inside of checkers and just wait around and then eventually work his way downstairs. MIBR open up all of the angles upstairs, but here's the key thing. They have no semblance of a game plan when it comes to actually clearing things out for a successful piano push.
Nothing at all.
They fall into every single, trap that Fluxo set up on that mid floor. They start taking gunfights over towards benches. They start taking gunfights in the heart of the site. Every single one of these gunfights goes awry. They don't get a single thing, even though Fluxo, practically gifted them a successful round if they're capable of getting that verticality under wraps and then working their way in off of a successful, pick. But none of that goes the way of the offense. And what is, honestly, a ludicrous round to draw up if you're the defensive side, and Fluxo still get away with it.
Now.
That's my nice version. You don't want to know the mean version.
Now, consider this.
Oh, come on, man.
we blood sacrifice Machina. And that enables us to recover the 4v5. So I think a tactical timeout might be incoming if MIBR are not able to close out this attack as we start.
Oh, they know.
As we start.
There's no way you do this,
dude.
Please don't.
If Rare hops over this and kills the guy, he's the greatest player of all time. All right, Warden. Oh!
There we go. Okay.
Bullet able to shut that one down. Good reaction. Dimitrix playing a very aggressive position on the yellow stairs. Gomez also outside to add an even third angle to that. So you might lose Machina, but a decent start. A trade between Rare and Raps. So both sides worse for wear as MIBR bail out of the execute. Very quick thinking by the Ying to not commit to that repellent as your striker, your Nomad. One of the operators has fallen off the board.
Fluxo.
Now you can rotate, throw the Candelas around the corner.
Oh.
We've got one, we've got two, we've got one attacker remaining, unfortunately. Well, that's unfortunate. I think, you know, maybe we could have used some Candelas to try and make that 2v3 workable, but we did not. 3-0 Fluxo.
I feel like by the end of this half, guys, the script is going to completely flip. I'm going to be like, Carter, calm down. He's going to be like, but Stokes, what are they doing?
No. You kidding me?
All right.
I've done the work. I've been to therapy, okay?
I've been to therapy.
I've talked my problems out. I've processed, all right?
You're telling me that I might need a therapist for this game? I mean, honestly, I might.
Not what I was implying. Listen, therapy is a journey. Everybody should
I'm implying it for myself,
all right,
sir.
you know,
100%.
well,
Don't worry.
I can't control what you do, okay? I can't. So it's not been a great half for MIBR so far. I don't want to say we're at Fluxo level, but we're rapidly approaching it. By Fluxo level, I mean like their first few attacks on bank is what I'm talking about. We're rapidly approaching that. This is it is just with Fluxo, it's very concerning when you pick a map, and in the case of Consulate, you know with almost absolute certainty you're going to start attack, and it just seems like with every round that goes on, you've got like less and less of a clear game plan for what you want to do. I suppose in round 3, with the yellow control acquired early on, you know, that was good realization of their efforts, but I guess just losing fights after that, I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. A lot of it happened off screen, which typically doesn't bode well for the overall strategic cohesion of their of any team's attacking side. So
no.
Fluxo now 1 round away from getting basically like the exact amount of rounds you want on any defensive side on any map, and on basement in particular. I doubt we're going to have the backstabbing Amaru in the final 30 seconds this time.
Yeah, I would really hope not. In the initial lineup that we saw, I was a little worried that they wouldn't have a solid breacher for the garage, but they're going to bring in the ace as well with the Habana. Well, the blitz too, and this is really what I want to see when it comes to, I mean, Consulate as a whole. You and I touched on it as Blitz, you know, ended up making his way through the bans, and MIBR are probably talking about that inside of their timeout as well. You need an operator, Carter, that can create space for you. He doesn't have to get any kills, but he has to be somebody that can get in the face of your opponent and make something happen. Make it to where things just get murky enough to where your offense can work their way in and try and find some picks off of the back of your camaraderie. So hopefully MIBR have some semblance of a game plan to work in around this blitz. At least, you know, you can cross your fingers, right?
I'm crossing both of them. Crossing
my toes, man.
Well, I mean, I guess I got more than 2 fingers, but I'm crossing like both, you know, like my middle finger and my index finger on both hands. So the normal fingers, one would cross. It's been especially peculiar how slow MIBR have been on these attacking sides when the resistance from Fluxo offsite has been quite minimal every single time. This go around, obviously on basement, we had some roamers here before. We have a Vigil all the way up in admin. Hashi in particular, who typically tends to be between the 2 stages, one of the standout players on Fluxo. 2 roamers on this middle floor, though now 1 as the Thorn. No, there were 4 players off site for the briefest of seconds there. 2 players up top, 1 on the middle to bridge back down to the bottom floor. If MIBR have been stalling out with nothing in their way, this could be even worse, as it seems almost all of their eggs are in the server basket.
They are. And a drone's going to come in. It'll find the Vigil. They'll know about him potentially dropping the hatch. This is really risky from Hashi, but Bullet, hello? Where's the communication on this? He almost turns onto Gomez as well. If he was able to get that sight actually up, There's a realm where he's able to remove his head, but fortunately enough, Gomez is there to bring this back to bear. But Fluxo, they've done what they set out to do in the first place. They've delayed time, and MIBR now have to go for a sub-minute XE yet again here.
They've at least got that 4v4. We'll spot one player on the drone as well. Briefly see that somebody might be rotating Visa, so Machina will move into the position. Yex as well to try and capitalize on this defender moving outside. It was Luke Kid, and he is gone. Very nice find by Fluxo. Or sorry, very nice find by MIBR onto Fluxo. Yex might be low, but a 4v3, a man advantage with this blitz still in play could be the first attack and the best one we've seen so far from MIBR. First shot will go out through the single panel by server. It'll cause Astro to fall back, a little bit concerned about what that position could entail. Gumine in response. Always got to be wary of those when you have a blitz or any shield operator in play, but he's going from the opposite side. Flashbangs go in, out goes the swing. He tanks the shots. Grabs all that bullets, absorbed by the Blitz's shield, and he's cut off by Machina. Mitrix on for 2, though, but that is it. A clean 1v1 now, and Gomez with the flick onto Astro. 1v2 for the Hibana to give MIBR their first.
Oh man, by the skin of his teeth. The 1v1 heads up as well. Nobody really understanding where the other body is, and finally MIBR able to get one across the line. But man, it takes absolutely everything, fighting tooth and nail time and time again to try and get that going on. And I think the main thing is for MIBR, even with this round being successful, Carter, they are demonstrably slow. They are so slow on these clears, even when they have a foothold downstairs with a blitz. They're just not really propelling themselves forward. And I think that timing kind of messes with Fluxo as well. I think Luke had thought he was in good time as he rotates into tellers, but they're more than willing to pull everybody back up to that space and deal with him in a pseudo 3 versus 1 at like what, 25, 30 seconds remaining. I mean, it is just a wild sight here for MIBR, as it has been grueling for them through these 4 rounds, but finally finding some green lights as they will pick up their first round here and looking to do so again here with round 5 on this mid-floor setup. Now, do remember, the last time that we saw this bomb site, Fluxo did not hold on to this top floor in really any sense of the term. We just saw Luke upstairs playing his Capcan over towards Checkers. This time around, though, completely different look from Fluxo, as not only do they have reinforcements, but the verticality to boot over the top of the site.
Quickly moving into Visa. We'll see. All right, never mind. Down we go. That was going to hold the cutoff for the hatch and admin, but instead going for the lurk all the way downstairs. This is a first floor defense, so it is important positioning to take, especially if you can get that peace of mind early on that nobody's playing down below in garage, playing for that C4 in the late round. Obviously, there is no C4, but make sure there's no pulse, there's no soulless, nothing on the board that might at least give the attackers information or give the defenders information as to where the attack is planting. It's a nice find early on for Gomez. First Dokkaebi call has gone out, by the way. And MIBR, unfortunately, not really in a position to capitalize on any of the intel gained, but they will use their drones out from admin, down long desk, to try to reckon with this top floor, as we have, I believe, is that, what, 4 people upstairs? Maybe, yeah, 4 people upstairs.
4 people up top. MIBR have Doke, they have Grim as well, and Zofia to boot. I'd be like, Stokes, why you bring up Zofia? Those concussion nades, man, they work really well, especially since they go off in proximity, so you can use them as pseudo information on these clears. Make your life a little bit easier, as well as obviously that defender will be affected by the concussion flying out. Fluxo, we're going to lean into their patience yet again here, especially with this top floor being built up in the way that it is. MIBR with a nice shot as Bolt will take down Hashi. That's going to be one of their very first successful openers here on this offensive side, looking to accomplish even more as they fly in. Doke will go down. A big moment here, but Raps gets away from it. Nobody's home to try and help this player. They tried to go for the crunch, but there's so many Fluxo bodies in the space, they're not going to be able to get away with too much. But finally, Rare will assist with this. I know that there's another player around here, or at least they think. I had him drop back off, but Luke, kid, that was picturesque right there. Take a photo, Bullet. It'll last longer than your life. This is a 2 versus 2 now with 47 seconds remaining.
There's a Scopos right there.
I was going to say, oh,
I almost
Astro's right there as well. There's no
almost
way that Astro goes for this flip, right?
So I don't think he's gonna go for the flip right now, but the fact that that is still alive. Oh no, he's just around the corner. He's lurked up yellow stairs, and now he can rotate back up if he wants, since nobody dealt with that shield. He can literally bait Lukid on the site. The Aruni can stall out for time, and if they go for the plant, which, well, they can't. They diffuses on yellow stairs. But if they go on the site, he can just rotate up above. That's very cool. It will not matter, but it is very cool nonetheless. Machina reveals his position. Lukid shuts him down. Only one win on the attack so far for MIBR. And it might be the defense on Consulate, but if Fluxo get a 5-1, that is more than anybody should let go.
No, I think we, you look over the stats in Brazil for all of the different maps that we've played, and this is one of the most even-keeled ones. There's only one that's positive for the offenders. It's Border. I know you're so shocked, Carter.
Damn, that's
but
crazy.
Consulate, yeah, right. Consulate though, 52% overall defensive win rate.
That's actually comical
I think
how close that is.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. It's not close inside of this game. And it's really just up to the clears of MIBR. I obviously know that, analysis-wise, I started off pretty hot, but there's a reason for that. It's that MIBR's timings here on Consulate for their clears have been very poor, folks. And that's something that you can't have on a map like Consulate. If you let that timer eat at you and you bring it down to the wire, the defense is in such a power position, especially if you haven't gotten control of some of these key areas around the map. Fluxo, they're in the candy shop right now, man. I mean, they're so happy that this defense has been going the way that it has. And they still have different things that they can really show MIBR. Last time that we saw this basement setup, they went for a very extended roam up top. I mean, I think it was one player down low, and the rest of Fluxo was just strung along the two different floors. This time, we're probably going to see something meet in the middle, Carter. Probably two bodies downstairs, maybe three, and then the other two roaming around up top, because if they can waste MIBR's time again and pigeonhole them into a low time execute, well, my friend, we're more than likely looking at a 5-1 half.
Probably, given the problems that MIBR have had so consistently. Lukid roaming up top. It is Boss G time, baby. The attack did spot this open barricade early on, but I believe the player out by Garage has gone on his drone at this point, and I believe he moved down to Garage to open up the breach itself. Well, yeah, the screen shake will kind of reveal that one pretty quickly. I don't believe they actually know concretely that Lukid is here. They're just aware of the open window. So he can sit here pretty much the entire time. I don't know if that was an attacker creeping down on the server or if that was a defender. I think it was
They have two people over here.
It is Machina. He has found the gap of all gaps. He has literally cut the Red Sea in half. Walked up long haul. The Clash turns her back. He gets two. One down on the floor. Now Fluxo know what the game plan is. Gomez falls, but this is still such a massive play from the striker on MIBR. Yex fills the space afterwards. That is the site hollowed out and dealt with. Turns around to cut down the defender, retreating back down to the bottom floor. Actually might have taken over yellow, but Lukid, who has been sitting up by the CEO window literally the entire round, has got to take out the SMG-12 and help the Valkyrie clutch a 2v4 first kill. Goes their way. Second, just around the corner. It's all on Lukid to stop the 2-4 half from happening, and Bullet is the one to put the nail in the coffin. It was a long and winding road, but where we end up is exactly where the attacking team hopes to be.
The most successful, and it cannot be understated, offensive round out of MIBR comes in the dying moments of their half, where they find a huge gap over on the server side and they simply walk in. Now, my huge indictment of Fluxo on that round, Carter, is the fact that not only do we have solid operators to try and suss this out, but at the end of the day, we have Valkyrie. We have two players up top as well, and nobody is operating these cameras anywhere at all. This guy just walks through like he owns the place, and he gets a pick, not on just a player, but onto your Clash, who is the player that is supposed to be holding everything down for yellow as well as the main breach. Fluxo, they just think that MIBR really isn't going to try and search for anything. They think they're just going to try and waltz into the, roam that they have going on upstairs, but that's most definitely not the case. Instead, MIBR, they see a golden path, a golden opportunity to at least shore up this score line and make things a little bit easier once they reach the defensive side, and it goes off in a very convincing way. So well done to MIBR. A lot of those offenses, not exactly good, Carter, and I think that cannot be understated as well, but at a bare minimum, in the dying moments, they're capable of finding a gap and exploiting it to the fullest.
I just got to give massive props to Makino, the top performing player on MIBR on Bank, and now with that massive play, leading the scoreboard once again against Fluxo this time around. They get the benefit of the defense now, and that attack, depending on how Fluxo look, attacking their opponent's pick could be pivotal for deciding the course of this map overall and whether or not we are actually pushed to a map 3 or not. Will we see Chalet? Will be decided, or at least made more or less likely in this half. CEO defense to start for MIBR. We've got a Damaru, and for the first time on the site where she is most used.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing past that is we don't exactly have the craziest utility to try and support that, right? I mean, obviously the Capitals banned out, but nothing really past that. You don't see a glass. You really don't see anything else that's going to try and thwart the game plan of the defense. Minus maybe some track stingers out of Mitrix, but that can be dealt with accordingly as soon as that starts to go in. Luca's going to bust open the floor next to the desk just to make that unplayable for now. And Fluxo should be looking to try and deliver here soon. Now, the key factor here for me is the fact that Fluxo have no control past this. And this means that they're really going to have to hope that this utility out of MIBR is not all that potent. But bad news bears, there's quite a bit of it for the defensive perspective.
This is actually sick, though. Like, the Twitch drone to try and destroy the shot canister, I highly doubt that Flux are even ready for that. So second Garho goes in, and he's so good on that. Looking for the final one now, as there's very little C4 as the Kiva barriers go out. Makina will find one and cross successfully. The utility play might be good, but the actual coverage, well, the Kiva barricades make that a hell of a problem, don't they? Second attempt on the rappel, breaks the Kiva in half. There's that third toxic canister. And MIBR are more than aware of what Fluxo are trying to do on this attacking side. We commit a third time. Astro looking to rappel in the second time for himself personally. Take the time to destroy those Kiva barricades. The 417, the exact tool for this particular job. Here we go. Lucky number 3 as the Kiva goes out and falls off at the right time. Him and Luke hit both on the horizontal and the vertical. Number 4, ladies and gentlemen. Can I get
and that's a Nitro.
Number 4? Nitro wasted. Astro's persistence. Astro's stick-to-itness might just pay off. 20 seconds left, but Luke Kids died down below. The only players that can watch are all on the window, and they've got the impact grenade to deny this very plant. It is done in round 7 as MIBR take their first defense.
I mean, Fluxo just trying to work with the most minimalistic map control possible. And every single time that it comes down to the case truly going down, that verticality does not work in the favor of the offense. MIBR with some big moments there, not only able to work their way around and kill that planter past Lukid trying to kill them through that verticality down low, but then Lukid also dying to said verticality as he tries to reposition inside a piano. And from that, I mean, the wheels fall off the wagon, right? I mean, there's just nothing really for Fluxo to do. They had a moment in time where it looked like they could have ended up getting that plant down, but would have required Luca to more than likely win out that engagement, post that nitro cell going off without really catching anybody. And now MIBR with a successful defense of the CEO attempt out of Fluxo. They're immediately going to shift this into a mid-floor bomb site, which we've already said once inside of this series here, and at least for this map. That does beg the question as to what is going to happen on this top floor. MIBR is going to dedicate quite a few resources to this area to try and slow down Fluxo.
As they should. See the solos come into play. Not an operator we see all that much since Ubisoft literally demolished her, given how oppressive, to be fair, she very much was. But I think, of the bomb sites in the game where I think she's most applicable, if you have a first floor site with a lot of soft destruction above it, Solos makes perfect sense. You hold the top floor, you run around, you activate that Specchio scanner to see what they're planning. It just makes it very difficult for the attack to go for any quick plays or any direct takes. You are basically forced to clear or just gamble it that you'll win the fight when the Solos actually opens up any vertical angles. Flux are basically going to have to clear this. They're at least going to have to give it some level of respect and some level of attention.
Yeah, and honestly, I think Hashi might make his presence known here very widely. Mitrix? Default cam Mitrix? Nope. Hashi, dead. Dead as hell. Over on the admin side. Our Nook, dead in the first 50 seconds of the round. Not very sneaky, Hashi. Not very sneaky at all.
No. Not often you see the Nook hit the rappel on a site that the I think the defense kind of like a little bit, you know, wary of. Kind of like, all right, you know, we're holding top floor. They might push admin. But the Nook loses a very important fight. Hashi, a very important player, loses that fight as well. And Machina playing close with the shotgun. We're now basically seeing, you know, if this could be the second floor site, and it's going to be the exact same weakness we see when teams have to attack CEO, which is crossing out of admin, dealing with this vending machine player and the guy close on the doorway that Machina is holding right now with the shotgun, is very difficult to do. And I think that's why we're seeing less and less resources from Fluxo being expended here. We might have 3 people, but in all honesty, with how many drones we're starting to feed them, and we got no nades, we only got some flashes, and aside from that, not much else. I mean, I would say maybe you rotate, but they really are trying their best to make this work. Only 2 drones remaining, just to basically find and come to the same conclusion you had before, which is this is going to be hard as hell to figure out. Machina, oh my god, get the hell out of here. Are you kidding me? Rare tags on for another. It's a tie game with Astra on 1 HP. There is not a chance he's clutching this one.
Yeah. Fluxo asks the question, is the fire hot, Carter?
A little bit.
And the answer is yes. They put their hands right in and they're like, ah, that really stung. Yeah, I bet it did. That is just ludicrous. I think the key thing is here is that they were kind of dedicated to what was going on the top floor, and how could you not be? That's the one thing I'll tell all y'all at home. When it comes down to it, MIBR's top floor control, you're never going to get a plant past them just because of the amount of verticality that they have up there. So you have to deal with it in some semblance of the term. At least, you know, try and muck things up and make it to where they can't exactly have, you know, strict oversight of what's going on inside of the mid floor. But Fluxo were not even able to hold a candle to that top floor setup there. And really, I hate to, you know, put it all on somebody's shoulders, but Hashi, that opener there for him, that was just not good, man. We cannot have our Nook trying to rappel in on the top floor and make a solo dolo play in from admin when it's a full-on top floor setup from MIBR. I mean, at a bare minimum, they're going to have somebody over there making sure that nobody's allowed to work in through checkers. And as soon as they get that body, they actually double down in that respect. And they put more people, more resources over near this area, and they completely thwart the game plan of Fluxo. Both of these teams, now that we've gotten 2 rounds from Fluxo on this offensive side, just not very solid when it comes to their offensive rounds here on Consulate.
No, and it's effectively the same thing from Fluxo 2 rounds in a row, doggedly trying to make that CEO push work that they called at the beginning of the round. And then the next go, doggedly just trying to make this admin clear work that seems by all metrics to just not be happening whatsoever. So what's going to happen here? Well, you can't second guess yourself if you don't give an opportunity to have a second thought. And with the garage breach being prepped, exothermic on. Gentlemen, make that space. 2 players all line up. Mitrix
Nice.
cuts both down. 3 players remain up top, but Fluxo has full control of the bomb site. Raps needs to put this diffuser down. You cannot let this moment slip away. Hashi gives them even more security on the bottom floor, and now everyone can retreat to their post-plant positions. Bullet making vertical holes in real time. Yex having a very late encounter with the Blitz. Yeah, you're not making it out of this one, buddy. Sorry. 3-piece for Mitrix, 8 and 7. The round we needed to see for Fluxo to get back into this, to reclaim their lead. It's a shame that first round was not able to work out. You'd be at match point off the back of this. Hello. Nice shot by Bullet, but the deployable shield, it gets everybody in the end, retaking the lead from MIBR.
I just want to point out, Blitz went like around the world in that round. He enters in through garage, gets a 2K over inside of the locker's hallway, goes all the way over to Tellers, or rather server, goes up those staircases, kills the guy in Tellers, then goes all the way over to yellow and kills that guy in yellow.
Blitz is like a shark.
That is ridiculous.
Blitz is like a shark. He can't turn around. He can only move forward.
Otherwise he can't breathe. Exactly. Yeah, he has to just keep moving forward. But wow, Fluxo, I mean, they call it on the ball, man. They call it on the drop, and they find MIBR with their pants down, Carter. The key thing here for me is the fact that MIBR have completely loaded the mid and top floors, but there's zero verticality for them to work off of in a case like that. Yeah, exactly. And they have so many shotguns to be able to break it up too. But as soon as the plant starts going off, MIBR's like, oh, we better open up these angles.
Yeah,
I'm just sitting here like, why aren't they open in the first place? If you guys have one, maybe two people downstairs, shouldn't we have something to support these guys?
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to be able to predict every vertical angle, but I was surprised by the sheer amount of vertical angles that we did see MIBR opening up after the diffuser had already gone down. So, but still, it was a very good rush from Fluxo overall, and I think they're just going to try to keep a good thing going. Blitz back in the cards. Mitrix, 4K on that round, I believe, on the Blitz, so you obviously going to give him back that operator. Now we have the Glass this time. No Amaru for the CEO push, so what'll probably be, what, drop down yellow? Be my guess with the Blitz?
I dig it. I dig it. You know what else I dig? The fact that Fluxo's worked this way, worked this Blitz back in, and MIBR did not bring a single trap operator. Yeah. That is just bad luck for MIBR. I mean,
to play lawyer again, they're going full on the denial, right? You've got one C4, but obviously the Shamika grenades and the toxic canisters on the smoke. So no direct denial for the Blitz specifically, but Fluxo are trying to go for these gimmicky plants, that they're trying to go for these rushes. So if you can deny it with the utility, you could be okay, but it is still a bit of a problem that there's not a lot of immediate counters to that Blitz. I think just trying to fake out the rush, burn out any utility as Fluxo hit the E1D, then immediately hop over to admin.
Yeah, no, I think Fluxo identified exactly what was happening here. They either got a read that Tachanka's in the lineup, which, I mean, they probably still have smoke in that regard then, right? If you're thinking about it from Fluxo's mindset. So they just don't want to try and put all their eggs in one basket. In fact, if you call it right now, you have plenty of time to try and commit to this admin clear, and that's exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah, the Deimos will be very, very helpful for that. All three Deathmark trackers right now. Nobody playing aggressively in admin itself. Maybe you can move into Projector on the first floor and try to use that Deathmark scanner, that tracker, to find anybody actually playing inside of key positions in the site. Remember the admin clear last time. Remember how many teams can fall to this spot. One player close on the door. That's Gomez. One player by the vending machine. I believe that's rare with that deployable shield. So it's not going to be easy. A lot of utility might be expended, and Fluxo might still get nothing for it.
Just pay attention to Mitrix. He is the entire key to this offensive round for Fluxo. He has to find success on this Blitz. The E1D out. Deployable shield here, and the Deimos marking this man in behind the vending machine. Gomez has been locked up by the IQ over inside of managers. The Goyo, or rather the Glass, will take out Yex as he flies through the window, but Gomez with two very nice frags. The Blitz still alive and charging in through front desk. They have found him. They know where he is. They're going to try and flick around, and he'll find one inside of Checkers, but Mitrix, he's just so dang good when it comes to these moments, as we'll be able to take him out. 30 seconds remain for MIBR.
Where was the shield play during the season? He's in a 1v2 now. Whips out the shield, spots Machina. He smells blood. He's hunting for this final frag for the second to last one. Astro finished off. Luke Kid not in the position to be revived as Machina keeps pushing further and further and further. He trades with Rare, and they only win the round by a default because the Azami stays alive. Dude, Mitrix is on a heater. I'm kind of nervous going forward. It's 5v5, but keeping him on this Blitz has got to be the secret to success.
100%. And really, when you think about it, it's just like, well, if any other Fluxo member finds some success there, Carter, that's probably around. I don't know if we end up seeing him again just because they might try and feel things out inside of the prep phase here, but there's always an opportunity for them to try and pull that card yet again and see what they can do. And this bomb site isn't exactly the worst to bring Blitz on either. You're still getting asked to try and clear out that top floor. You're still getting asked how you're going to try and aggress into this bomb site and find some semblance of control in order to get a case down. And all signs point towards a German operator with a shield coming in once again. It's going to be Mitrix back on the Blitz, currently 12-8. And for the rest of Fluxo, I ask you one thing. Do you believe in Mitrix supremacy? Because I sure do. Damn it! I built that up so well too, dude. I'm frustrated.
To be fair, Machina's on Legion. Like,
well, they are going to bring in the Ying though, and I almost like this more.
I started laughing because I appreciate that he started on Ashe and then repicked to the Blitz. Like, yeah, I wasn't sure, but I'll go with the shield. Though they do end up second guessing it in the end, as Mitrix will go to that Ying, which you said you like it more. I like it in general, but I don't know if I can say I like it more right now. Obviously, you have the Legion, which is always going to be a big problem when you're facing shields, But Mitrix on the Blitz has been, I mean, he's got like 6 kills in the past 2 rounds on this operator alone. It's the reason they got that one attack they've had so far. Going with a bit more of a standard play and going away from that shield, they're inherently moving back towards something that hasn't really been working so far.
Let them cook.
I'm not passing judgment. I'm just saying my concern.
Let them cook.
All right, I'll shut up. My bad.
I'm excited to see what the Kandalas do, especially for this top floor setup. And this is really what I was concerned with, just having something that can, you know, really cause some calamity on that top floor, especially since Warden isn't in the mix. This is just all positivity for Fluxo if they're able to get a solid foothold on this. You can see that MIBR is worried about any Fluxo member trying to get a wrap on any sort, of any sort, on this setup. And speaking of wraps, we're going to have Luke Kid wrap up Spiral Staircase. Should just be standing here for a while. That default's been down for quite some time. Actually, I take it back. He's actually just sitting there looking back and forth to see if anybody's on the camera. They haven't even shot it out just yet. Gonna see if he can potentially catch MIBR with their pants down as he'll start to push himself forward into front desk.
He will shoot it finally just to make sure.
No.
But there's a shotgun right around the corner. Luke Kid, you just got to be more careful than that. You got to be more careful than that. It's a middle floor defense. You know somebody's going to be holding the top floor. And just by sending it in like that, you've lost yourself in a very, very silly way. Where the hell is Matrix? He's down below right now. There's a mirror window down there with a defender playing behind it, but Astro gets an important kill in the sight, spots the head of the next one. This angle is so difficult, and somehow he still downs the castle anyway. Legion almost hits the flick, but Hashi shutting it down. Mitrix found out on his lurk down below, but it doesn't matter.
It's just him.
It's a 1v2. It is just Bullet. He's got the C4, and he's throwing it just close. Blow it! Bullet, blow it! That's still 8 miles away, so I guess it doesn't really matter. 1v2 now, and on such low HP, that was Bullet's one shot to put himself in a winnable position, and now it seems oh so unlikely. He's trying to commit to the recovery, but the attack's already thought of that. He's got intel on the player across the wall. The castle finished off. Bullet's already committed. The IQ not looking. Hashi just sprints out into the open. They've got intel now, but if Bullet can land this shot, drop down the hatch. Match point for MIBR right there, solo time, but he doesn't know about the intel, doesn't know the attacker's art, tries to go for the counter defuse, and now Rap swings out to shut it down. Series point for Fluxo. Matched MIBR in their attacks. One more rush, and we're done in regulation.
Hey, Fluxo called their own number again there, Carter. They shy away from the blitz. They set themselves up for a full-on blitz Krieg of the mid-floor, and it works out successfully for them. They get the big picks, and not only that, but they're able to deal with MIBR as they try and re-entry onto the site. I mean, the biggest thing there for me, obviously, is going to be Luka just kind of doing his own thing there around Spiral and immediately getting punished. But past that, Fluxo did so much inside of that round to make sure that that plant not only goes down, but that they had solid positioning to make sure that this post-plant setup would go off without a hitch as well. Fluxo in the driver's seat here in our max regulation yet again.
No.
These two teams can just not get away from each other.
No, we're on basement. There's no Legion. No, stop. No, you're kidding me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no. There's got to be a Banshee by Red Car, right? Got to be a Banshee by the Breach.
You want to see me run over to that rock over there? You want to see me do it again?
There is, like, I am praying they have a Banshee by that Breach. He's 3 in pocket. He's placed one. Please. To be fair,
there has to be.
Well, to be fair, we actually see, like, literally no hard breach aside from the hard breach charges for Rap, so they're not doing the full garage rush like they did last time, at least I'd assume.
Proper info, they can just fly in through yellow, though, no? I mean, as long as there's no Banshee or anything there, because a lot of MIBR is dedicated over to the server side and extended up to the top side of the map. Yeah,
that's what I was going to say, because I was thinking, okay, maybe they're going to go for a backside push, but yeah, as you said, we've got 2 by Visa, we got, like, at least 1 by server.
Oh, they're going to clear it.
Astro getting confident, does spot the Warden. Oh, Bullet repeaks the angle. You wish you did that. What? Luca's already got another kill, 5-3. Machina's got to fall back within the first 35 seconds. And Yex is in a difficult spot. You want to play a little aggressive, try to claw back that man advantage, but Fluxo just been given everything for free.
This is ridiculous. Fluxo have MIBR's hopes and dreams in their hands, folks, and they are crumbling it. They do it in practically the first minute as well. And the scariest part about this is, Carter, there's so much time left in this game. There's so much time left in this round. Fluxo have everything in the cards right now to be able to pull this out in a victorious manner. In fact, I will go as far as to say if they don't win this round, something went terribly wrong.
I mean,
so
it'd be ridiculous to lose this at this point. Full mid-floor control, you kidding me? 5v3, you kidding me?
Yeah, exactly. And not only that, but you have the blitz and it's Metrics again. Like, ooh, MIBR, you're making me wary.
Very different context, that statement at the beginning of the game. You have the blitz and it's Mitrix, and this time Mitrix on the blitz. They will lose one. Only C4 the defense had will be useful. Blessing up for that one, as Luke Kid has been cut down. It has been a long time, and Fluxo had a lot of utility and a lot of drones. 7 drones, by the way, when those first 2 kills happened. So they have spent so much time setting up for the remainder of this execute. But now it's just a full frontside push. Machina gets the first pick. We have fully rotated to the opposite side where all the defenders are. The best thing to have going for them is still this blitz in hand. But Machina's holding the back. Now it's a full rotation over to Spiral. And the guy outside the breach, no, it's down yellow. They are changing things up rapidly. And again, they know the push is here. They've got 2 impact grenades to land this damage. They've spotted a player outside of the breach. MIBR are as ready for this as ready can be. Mitrix needs to work. He needs to land these shots. 16 HP, 2v2. Nothing is breaking. Mitrix is the only one standing. God damn, how closer can it get? But it's Flux over for MIBR in the end. 2-0. 1 map in the regular stage, but 2 in the LCQ sends Fluxo to the semifinal.
Hey, man, all I gotta say, Mitrix was fluxing on him right there, man. That was something else. I mean, it was him time and time again that was able to make enough space for Fluxo to work their way in. And guys, that last round right there, absolutely terrifying. Like, I think Lynx and I's blood pressure, we might have to go see a doctor after that, because you let that 5v3 get down to a 3 versus 3, Lynx.
I'm literally watching.
What is happening?
I'm literally watching like the Battle of the Somme play out in Garage. Like, it's literally just trench warfare. Like 2 people sitting at their battle lines, like, ah! It was ridiculous. I could not, like, oh my God. The Blitz was literally just like staring at the Azami for like 10 seconds. That was ridiculous. But we got to give credit where credit's due. Flux are really struggling those first 2 attacks. And Sam, they get it into gear. They bring that blitz. And Mitrix, who literally had a less than 50% cost playing these exact same operators in stage 2, he was blessed by the Lord today because he was absolutely the most impactful player for Fluxo on those attacks.
Yeah, 100%. Prayers to the big man upstairs, dude, because Mitrix, I mean, he was there, man. He was on the stairs praying that this would go well. And honestly, without Blitz, I don't really think that Fluxo are operating at the same capacity. It was time and time again, those big moments that we saw out of Mitrix, not even having to have him kill people, just being a nuisance, being there in the face of the defense and constantly being that thorn in their side provided so much revenue for Fluxo inside of these rounds when things started to get extremely hard fought as well. Mitrix was there to make the most out of those moments, and you really have to tip your cap to him because, you know, I can guarantee you that Fluxo is counting their lucky stars, and those things happen to have a name, and it is indeed that man.
Just able to bounce back after what are like literally one of the roughest individual stages a player has had in the entire circuit right now, in the entire world for stage 2. And just being able to be undeniably the MVP for Fluxo in map 3 is really, really quite good. And Hashi was the only guy showing up at stage 1 when you and I casted this league pretty consistently. So to see Mitrix struggling but bouncing back, it is really, really impressive. And ultimately for MIBR, that huge moment by Machina walking up the long hallway, it doesn't end up mattering in the end because sure, they got it over the line, but it was still only one of the 5 rounds that MIBR won in a regulation loss. Their attacks were good enough to get the 4-2, but this was all a game where Fluxo took the initiative. They genuinely adapted to the problems they were facing, which was not something happening on Bank, and were able to get the game over the line as a result. It's a shame, of course, that does mean MIBR's run ends here. And what has continued to be a year of struggles and a year of woe for this roster, bringing in Machina to try and fix some of the problems, retooling around Bullet, And it just still is not paying off, unfortunately, despite a really close stage 2, a really close group stage where they could have very well qualified in the playoffs. Only 1 point behind NIP, 2 points to leap them. They might not even been in this position, or at least in the same spot. And it's a shame it ends here.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely a team that, especially with the roster they have, right, you'd expect a little bit more out of, but just not really able to get things going, especially on the offensive side of the coin. They really struggled not only on Bank, but here on Consulate too. And it's definitely something that you're really hoping that they can try and fix up here in the future, especially as they'll have a little bit of off time to try and reinvent themselves. You know, if we really want to get down to the nitty gritty, I really wish we got to see a little bit of blitz out of them on their offensive side there, Carter. I think that could have definitely have helped. But, I mean, hey, man, beggars can't be choosers. They're trying to do their best. Obviously, these guys aren't trying to, you know, sell themselves down the river. They're trying to put forth their best foot, and it just really did not happen here today on Consulate. Very unfortunate for MIBR, but Fluxo will be our team that makes the semifinals.
Yeah, and obviously Machina, very, very good. I'm excited to see more for him in Brazil on the side of MIBR, but Fluxo will make it to our semifinals. They will be playing. Yeah, they're playing Fury tomorrow because we do the 2 upper quarterfinal games today. So one of the matchups in 2 days' times will be Furia versus Fluxo, but there's a whole lot more going on tomorrow to decide our next semifinals. But before we get there, before you see Sam and I again in a couple days' time, we have somebody to talk to because we don't have to get to talk to the Fluxo guys, Sam. We don't really get to because they don't win a lot, unfortunately. But I believe we do have Jacob and Ann talking to Lucan on the disc.
Appreciate it, boys. We're trying to get Luca in the lobby so we can talk to him in a second. But I want to do something real quick to just put this win into context. With all possible respect, Fluxo are not a team known for winning games. That's just kind of how this has swung over the past couple of stages. The fact that they were able to pull this off is monumental. We've only ever seen them in tier 1 contexts in best of ones. They haven't been in an environment like this in a hot minute, but the last time they beat a tier 1 team was so long ago that we had to dig going back to find it. Now they've gotten a dub. MIBR, their season is over at the hands of Astro and company, and I didn't see this coming. We thought this was going to be Fluxo's game to lose almost immediately, and yet they're the ones on the other side of a 2-0. That's got to feel crazy.
Yeah, they really shined today, and what you said is so true. It was in June that they won a best of 3 against another tier 1 team, but to put it into context, that didn't even happen inside of Brazil League or a major. It was the EWC qualifiers where they beat MIBR, surprisingly, with a 2-0 as well. So it's a very monumental effort from them here.
Yeah, we'll get Luca in here to talk about how this game went. A guy who's been on lots of different teams within Brazil, finally managing to get a BO3 win in a huge context now over MIBR. Dude, congratulations on the victory. You've now won 5 games straight. What's been going so right in the Fluxo camp from the start of the qualifier until now?
For us, it's the mindset because since we lost all the games on the LAN League, we were showing that we are good online, so we are trying to manage to play as well in LAN series as well.
Awesome. Well, the last time you beat MIBR in a 2-0 fashion was in June. Did you have to change your approach much due to them changing their lineup as well?
No, because we just played our game, and they didn't change much. They tried to do some things to surprise us, but in the end, we won as well, again.
Yes, again, indeed, awesome. Great stuff from you guys here. Now, your next matchup isn't the easiest. You take up the former world champions in Furia. How do you feel about that one coming up?
For us, it's like another game, because Furia, other times we try to win them, and almost just little details that managed to us lose the game. But tomorrow is a BO3, so we are trying to show our game against the better teams as well.
Well, you guys did a really phenomenal job today, and we hope that it continues when you play Furia on Saturday. Luca, congratulations. Enjoy this one, but we'll see you in a couple days for the semifinals.
Buy the skin Fluxo.
Yeah, buy the skin. It's in the store. Go get it.
Yeah,
Big deal for Fluxo to walk on this one. I think it's, dude, and I love the fact that we're seeing this sort of progression. I don't think there's been a time I mean, unless it was like a Black Dragons win, that would have been interesting. Like in this region for a team that's not found almost any success over the course of their entire time being in the scene, to get this win, it's not the end of the road. There's still 2 more best of 3s and a huge opponent they have to go against in the semifinals. But what they've got just for today, they should bask in that win, because I'm sure it's been a long time since these guys have felt that good.
Oh yeah, and it must be amazing for them. It's huge as well, right? Because if there's any time that you decide to come alive with your roster, it is the LCQs where it matters most, where that one spot to the Montreal Major is on the line. So they chose the perfect time in that sense. But I guess progress is what we're seeing even within this game, not just in their entire league, but also within this game, because once Fluxo got on their attacks on Consulate specifically, there was that one round where they saw, you know, the Blitz kind of works well for us. This kind of direct take, once we just send it through that garage breach. We have to question maybe the awareness of Melusi and the Mira downstairs at that Mira window, but they saw, okay, so this works for us. Let's double it and do it again in the next round. And that was kind of the key for them, these direct takes, to utilize that Blitz. And that really helped them to get these attacks over the line on a map that isn't necessarily attacker favored.
It certainly makes that matchup against Fury a lot more interesting. Fellapox said himself they hadn't adapted to shield meta very much, and now very quickly Fluxo realizing, wait a second, if we bring it, maybe there's an actual chance. So if they were to go head-to-head tomorrow or on Saturday, and that exact sort of playstyle clash were to happen in full force, that's going to make that matchup way more interesting than it had any right to be when the day started. And for guys like Hashi and Mitrix to show up when people probably didn't think that it was going to be on them. People would have looked to Luke Kid to show up, or Raps to do something, or for Astro to revert back to 2018 form to really get this team over the line. They didn't have to, because the 2 young bloods were doing so much work on the front end in this series, and it sends MIBR to the grave.
Yeah, we have to commend Makina as well in his rookie here to drop 27 kills here in that 2 mapper is quite a performance from him. Unfortunately, it was not enough to pull his team over the line, because he had to go up against 2 of the main characters on the side of Fluxo. For the longest of that game, I believe it was really down to Hashi and Astro to really show up and shine. We're looking at the entry from these 2 players as well. We complimented Hashi on his entries before going into this game. He was in the top 5 of entry players, and we said, okay, his team does not always follow up on the entries, but today that was the case. Today they followed up on the openings that Hashi created for this team. Can continue to be the main character throughout these 2 maps? Yes. We have to talk about Mitrix catching up on the Blitz, but it wasn't as consistent over these 2 maps as that we saw from Hashi.
There's very few instances where you can see a case of adaptation working really, really well for a team that's trying to do something on the fly when they know that they have to pull out some sort of trump card to win in a do-or-die series. They still had one more map that they could have let fall. This could have been going to Chalet, but they didn't want that to happen because they know how good MIBR can be on Chalet when they're actually firing on all cylinders, and they didn't let it happen, and now they are advancing through the bracket. Congratulations to Fluxo, but that might be one of the last times we get to say that, because again, the next team that they're facing in the bracket is the current world champions. And as fun as that game might seem to us now, when we get in the lobby, and if Furia perform like they did in the last 2 maps of their series against Elevate Academy, then there's every reason to think that that matchup on Saturday could be over pretty quick.
Yes, but it is a bit of a different team that you have to go up against. We have to keep in mind Elevate Academy is a tier 2 team, and we do have Fluxo being that tier 1 team that has been around in the competition of Brazil League. And I like how you mentioned Chalet. I want to go back to the pre-show where we talked about the veto, and I said, oh, it feels like MIBR is kind of banking on going to this decider, as they saved their last, or their best map for last, kind of, and that really costed them here. It was a high risk, high reward gamble, and unfortunately didn't play out the way that they wanted to. We see Fluxo move on in that 2-0 fashion, but yeah, it is a tough matchup at themselves. I like how Luke had said, oh, we take it just as any other match, and the one thing you mentioned with the shields as well might be that one key they could once again reuse on the door of Furia, but it is definitely going to be a very, very tough matchup.
Quarterfinals that we still have to get through tomorrow. E1 Sports against Blind Dragons and NIP against Vivo Keat Stars. This is one of those situations where the teams that are at the bottom, like your Blind Dragons, the teams that have been struggling for a long time, your NIP and your VK, they're still looking for a way to get back into this competition and doing it against one another when all of these teams had various struggles over the course of the main stage. It's going to be interesting to now play in best of 3 contexts when absolutely everything is on the line. And 2 more of those bad boys tomorrow, and it is do or die throughout this entire weekend for Brazil.
It is, but it's going to cause for some good siege as well. We see these high risk, high rewards things come in, but also we just love best of 3s. A lot of players say they love the best of 3s more as well because it gives you that kind of depth to go for kind of cheesy plays. If you mess up one round, it isn't all just immediately over. You have a bit of a safety net, whereas you don't have it because there is no lower bracket, but it allows for you to do a little bit more. Now, the games tomorrow, I think, are going to be very good. In my personal opinion, the favorite going into that lower half of the bracket might be NIP, given the performance we've seen from them throughout the entire season. So let's just hope that they show up tomorrow the way that we have been seeing from them. And then, yeah, I think it could be some really entertaining siege.
It's going to be a good one. Same time, same place, yet again tomorrow for 2 more quarterfinals to determine who is going to be facing the winner of Furia and Fluxo in the grand final on Sunday. Thanks a lot for joining us on day 1. We'll be back again for the quarterfinals tomorrow. See you then.